would have to beat Ohio State. USC has a really tough schedule, including games to finish against Oregon, and then, of course, UCLA as well. They have Iowa this weekend. Nothing easy for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans. Joel, I want to go from teams to individuals because we saw quarterbacks again show out. Ohio State did what it has done all year, and Julian Sayin up near 81% completion rate is ridiculous. His numbers are slightly better than Fernando Mendoza, but Mendoza has now had multiple, if you want to call them, Heisman moments as part of his season, including this past weekend. I know you're involved, you're a voter, I'm a voter. How much do those Heisman moments actually matter when it comes to deciding over the course of the year who should be the Heisman winner?
So, Heisman moments are great, but really, I like to define it a little bit differently, Rick, and that is, are you great when greatness is required? That's the mark of a truly terrific player. And for both Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, and I know this is more about Mendoza, they were in positions where not just good football was required, great football was required. And Mendoza specifically has been in that position multiple times, coming off of a pick six on the road in Austin against Oregon, and he's got to drive down and score. Tie football game on the road against Iowa, 13-13 with a minute, 37 left. And he's able to put together his best football. And now, down 87 yards away, no timeouts, and a minute 30 left, Rick, and he goes right down the field. It was incredible. The throws he was making, the leverage he was providing his wide receivers, Cooper down the boundary, seam, Nowakowski down the seam, Becker on the sideline, Cooper in the back of the end zone. Incredible throws. And so for me, yeah, you can say like, oh, that's a great moment for him, but really it's about what was required for him, and of his team in those moments, and that's when greatness occurred. And I don't think you can overlook that as a voter. And unfortunately for Julian Sayin, we haven't had that opportunity for him at Ohio State. Maybe that shows up at some point. I would say that the one possession you look up and you're like, there's some pressure there for Ohio State. Penn State gets within a one-possession game. It's 17-14 going in, and they start the third quarter, and Sayin just goes right down the field. They've been so good and so efficient that they haven't put themselves in a position where greatness is required because they've been so dominant defensively, throwing the ball. I have not seen this level of efficiency throwing the football down the field in a long time. Maybe Penix in Washington a couple of years ago en route to facing Michigan in the national title game. They threw it this well down the field, but man, Sayin is accurate. He's quick with his release. The coaching staff says a lot of quality things. One that sticks with me is that his brain is faster than his release, and his release is one of the quickest in the entire country. So we're dealing with excellent players in Mendoza and Julian Sayin.
Joel, I do want to go back to the Indiana-Penn State game. And knowing you a little bit now, I think you're like me. I realize every day how lucky I am to be able to go to work and talk about college sports. But you and Gus had that moment on Saturday. I go back to the call on that Cooper touchdown where Gus basically loses his mind and his voice. I hope it's back for this weekend. And you point out that if the grass is, another millimeter long, then maybe Cooper's first foot is down out of bounds. I mean, what's a moment like that like inside the booth watching a college football finish like that?
I mean, I got to tell you, I was just a fan at that point. Rick, it's really hard to provide analysis of that because I'm just losing my mind about that was incredible to watch. I couldn't believe it. And from our vantage point, we're sitting there at about the 50-yard line in the broadcast booth. And so when I see the play and the body positioning, first I'm like, dang, he almost hit his head on the crossbar. He was up there. And then from my vantage point, I'm thinking to myself, there is no way. I saw a touchdown being signaled by the back official, and I'm like, no. And so that's why I don't say anything. Gus has his call, and rightly so, because he gets a touchdown call. So he goes in, and he has his call, and he's reacting unbelievable with passion and joy. And that's why my first comment was, did he get his foot down? Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, there's no way. And then we're showing the replay, and it's slowly inching down. And that's where he and I are both just like, oh, I did it. He did it. So I was just a fan. There was nothing else I could say. I couldn't think of anything to say. What are you going to say? Oh, look at his body control. It's we all saw it. It was wild. I'll always remember moments like that. I think that was one of the my favorite three. That's easily my top 3 games that Gus and I have called together.
We had the exact same reaction in the green room. 9 of us watching it in there. I thought the exact same thing. There's no way he's in bounds. I mean, Penn State's going to win this football game. And then you see the replay and you think to yourself, it's one of the greatest catches I've actually ever seen in 30 years of covering college football.
Yeah, and he would never admit it, but I think Mendoza was basically throwing the ball away. You know, like my guy or nobody and probably nobody. But it's like the safest throw you can make right there to go that high. Like, he's not really trying to complete the ball. If you like, I've played the position, you know, like when you go that high, he's not like, oh yeah, Omar can make that catch. Cause it's like, you have no idea. He would never admit that, but I think Mendoza was trying to throw it away.
I think you're right on both counts, and I know that he will never admit it. Let's get time with you on 2 games coming up this week. And I mentioned USC and the murderer's row of the schedule that they have inside the Coliseum this week against Iowa. Jaden Mayava's been good. He's been somewhat inconsistent, but Joel, I've been fascinated by the fact that Lincoln Riley is mixing and matching Mayava as a runner now, almost as often as a passer. How much more dangerous does that make USC's offense?
Well, it certainly puts a huge amount of pressure on the defense and puts them in conflict to try to defend and equate the numbers when a quarterback can run and be elusive. Now, having said that, Rick, I think this is a terrible matchup for USC. This offense for SC hasn't quite hit on the cylinders that they did pre-Wayman Jordan's injury. I know King Miller has been good, but he hasn't been Wayman Jordan. And so this offense is not quite what it was, and they're facing a defense that is uniquely suited to frustrate an offense like USC. USC wants chunk plays. Iowa doesn't give them up. They have layers of defense. They're going to force you to snap it 10, 11, 12 times in order to get the ball into scoring position. I think that frustrates USC. I think this is a really precarious situation for SC to be in. They have a better matchup against Oregon than they do against Iowa. I really believe that this is a tough matchup for USC. I think Iowa wins the game on the road.
Wow, early call by Joel Klatt there for the Hawkeyes, which would obviously, again, scramble up the college football playoff if it comes to fruition. Michigan is in position, as we discussed, to get to the college football playoff. And I know so many people are already focused on the game on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We understand why. But you got to win the other games leading up to that one. And it starts this weekend in our backyard. You and Gus will be here in Chicago for Michigan Northwestern at Wrigley Field. I know this probably means a little bit extra special to you. You have a baseball background as well. What are you thinking about getting ready to call this one? Well,
Michigan being able to run the ball, you know, and can they do that against Northwestern? Northwestern is just a prototypical, tough, hard-nosed, fundamentally sound, good football team. They just are. They're veteran in the right areas, in particular up front on offense. Caleb Komalafe. Their defense is opportunistic. They're sound. They're physical. They're violent. They're tough to move the ball against. Oregon struggled to move the ball against them in a game I called earlier this year. So I have this thought and this idea of like, how well can Michigan just line up and run the ball? Because to me, their offense acts as a line of dominoes. And it's very difficult to start at domino number 3 or 4 in the string if you want to knock them all over. And it has to start with running the ball. That allows Bryce Underwood to throw the ball when he wants to versus when he has to. In a straight drop back game, I don't love Michigan's offense. But if they can be on schedule and they can run action pass, they can get to the tight ends, then all of a sudden that offense becomes very potent. Not just good, but potent. And their run game opens up off of that. I think that's going to be difficult for them. I think that this is a matchup that is going to be a difficult matchup for Michigan. I think that their defense is going to have to play very well. And then it comes down to situations and making plays in those situations. They were able to make big plays against Washington in a tight game in the third quarter. We'll see if they're able to do that against Northwestern on Saturday.
In a really cool environment, you guys have Chamber of Commerce weather, supposed to be in the mid-60s on Saturday. If you need any dinner recommendations, I'm here for you. As far as picking up the tab, that falls on Revson.
Okay, we'll take care of that. It's great to see you, man. Listen, I can't wait. This has been a wonderful season. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Awesome stuff. Thanks, Joel.
You got it.